I wanted to talk some about what you could do, especially if you're a young person living in this world that seems to have so few options. And people are telling you on one side, well, it's a capitalist country, so you can go out there and do anything you want, just make your way. Yeah, good luck finding a job doing something besides tending bars or waiting tables, even if you've got a college degree. And then the other side is telling you, yeah, capitalism has just wrecked our lives. We need a socialist state where you can have guaranteed college, guaranteed minimum income, guaranteed health care, blah, blah, blah. And we'll just print money on the Xerox when we run out. And I just feel for young people. My career is at an end, of course, but uh, what do you do? What do you do in this world where simply going out and raising your own fruit and vegetables and stuff, which is actually what I'm trying to do in retirement, but uh, that's not an option for a lot of people who don't have 25 acres. Um, Let me paint a picture for you. You think about this. So you're good with computers, and people bring their computer to you or some other kind of electronic, iPhone or whatever, a clock that doesn't run right. They just, any kind of gizmo, they bring it to you because you're known in the neighborhood as a guy who's really good with this stuff. So you repair it for them out of your home. They just come up your front door and you give them a ticket with your phone number on it, or and they you take cash from them. It's just like neighbor to neighbor. Or maybe you're good at baking. You like to make cakes and cookies, and uh, so you cater to certain affairs when people are having a birthday party or uh, Friday night get together or something, or they can just come to your house, your residence. Basically, you're operating out of your kitchen. You may have a little display in a front room, and they can buy the product at whatever price you choose to put on it. Maybe you're working out of your garage. Maybe you're like, you've seen episodes of The Pickers probably where they tour the country and they find all these people who have so much junk that they've collected over the years that even if they had 10 garage sales, they'd never get rid of it all. Well, some of us have I've got a lot of books. You can see some of them behind me. And whenever I go, I don't think the people after me are going to want to keep all those books. So they'll want to, you might have just a whole bunch of things you want to sell off. So you could run that out of your garage. You could have a sort of ongoing garage sale, as it were, or you could do it out of the front room of your house, have it a little more organized. Maybe you are good at trimming hair or dressing hair. You do men and women, perhaps. So you have a little barber shop in one of your front rooms. Maybe you're good with clothing. You're a seamstress, or maybe you repair shoes or something like that. So again, neighbors come to you with they want a custom made outfit of some sort, or they want their shoes repaired. Maybe I want to take golf lessons. I've never played golf. I don't know if I'd be any good at it or not. I just don't know how to do it. And maybe you're really good at golf, so I get with you and say, well, would you give me some golf lessons? You say, sure. What are you going to charge me? How about $50 an hour? I'm not that interested. Well, how interested are you? How about 20? Well, can we do 25? So this is like American pickers again. We dicker back and forth, and I say, okay, I'll do 25 an hour. Uh, Maybe you like to sing. Maybe you like to play an instrument. And you could uh, get together with a neighbor, maybe the person who makes cakes and cookies, and on Friday night you could like have a musical performance in a room of their house, and they could serve their confections, and a good time is had by all, and you make a little money. Now, all of these things, this is the way life used to be. this is the way communities, human communities, used to be. I could say, as far as there's any historical record, but I think the truth is this goes way beyond any historical record. People were living like this um, before they had writing. Even archaeologists have found evidence of marketplaces in locations like Chaco Canyon out there in the desert of New Mexico, where apparently, briefly, the Anasazi discovered irrigation and they were able to build up a surplus of crops, and they apparently had some commerce going on. But this is a natural way for human beings to live. You're not going to become Bill Gates or Warren Buffett by singing for your supper or repairing shoes or giving golf lessons, but you're doing what you like to do. I think this is one of the things that young people object to about capitalism so much, that they're forced into some sort of career where they have to climb up this preordained staircase, and it's such drudgery. It's the 8 to 5 job, and you're doing things that are not you. You're selling a product, and in some sense, often, too often, you feel as though you're selling yourself. You're having to become a person that you're not, so that you'll put a good face on the product somehow. And a lot of us don't care for that. But it's almost a kind of prostitution, isn't it? But that's the way the system seems to work. But what I just described is free enterprise. It's capitalism at a baby stage. And you're not going to get rich probably doing that, but just think of all of the freedom you have to channel what you really love, what you're really talented at. Think of the human ties that you'll make, which are really, so for most people, that's such an important part of it. It's not the money, it's the feeling that you're living a life that's real. You're doing what you were made to do. You're appreciated by your audience, your faithful body of consumers. Um, why don't we do this anymore? Oh, I wrote down a few reasons. Zoning laws, everything that I mentioned, you're doing out of a room of your house. Can't do that because your home is zoned residential. You got to go to the business section to do this stuff. Fire codes, you have to have another, if you have just one entry exit point, you got to have another place to get out of there in case the place catches on fire. OSHA, you have requirements where, maybe if I'm doing something with baking, I've got cookie cutters and knives and stuff. Well, maybe they're too sharp, or maybe they're not securely put away, and someone could get cut. The government can come in and, with a single fine, plunge you into debt and put you permanently out of business. Wheelchair access, parking for people who are disabled, all of that stuff. You have a business, you got to be sure you satisfy those codes. Licensures. Are you a licensed hairdresser? What about your bakery? What about the cookies that you make? Are we sure that you're clean? Are they safe? And for that matter, what about legal liability? What if I get sick after eating one of your cakes and I decided it was your cake that did that to me, so I take you to court, and I may even be faking it, but I can still ruin you. I might not win the case, but you have to go out and pay for a lawyer, and that alone might destroy you. Government inspections. Maybe our first guy who's doing computer repair, maybe he's just so casual about it. And I said he was just taking cash to repair his neighbor's computers. So, he's almost like a kid with a lemonade stand. Well, you can't do that either without some sort of license. But our computer guy, he doesn't have employee identification number, an EIN. So he's in big trouble with the IRS. It's government. The free enterprise has been destroyed by an excess of government. I talked about this in my introductory video. The reason why capitalism doesn't work at the small business level, at that productive, rewarding, liberating, wonderful level that produced so much that's good in our society. The reason why it doesn't work anymore is because we're so top heavy with regulation and inspection and licenses and all the rest of it. You can't be a little guy anymore. You just about can't do it and survive. So one thing we could do to make our lives better, if you don't like this big business, big government alternative that either you're a capitalist or you're a socialist. And we talked before about how if you look behind the scenes, really, both of those parties are in bed together constantly. Publicly, they pretend that they're enemies, but they're the same phenomenon. What we could do to create what you young people could do to create a new world is just go back to the way it was. Just wipe the slate clean. Now, if you do get sick on Aunt Martha's cake and you want to sue her, you have to give up on that. You know what? You just learned not to go to that place and buy a cake again. What's so hard about that? Just take a little responsibility. But what's wonderful about these free enterprise communities, I think one of the best things is that actually the quality of the product is usually very good because consumers are mostly local, so they know each other, and word gets around if a product is not good. If the cake is making you sick, or if Billy really doesn't do such a good job of repairing computers, that in itself controls quality. The producer has to produce a good product in order to have return clientele, and it's sort of self-regulating. I talked about prices. When's the last time you walked into a shoe store and you liked a pair of shoes, but you said, I can only pay you half of that? They're not going to dicker with you. It would be such a terrific world, I think, for so many of us. It would be the kind of world that we used to have. I sound like I'm being nostalgic here, but seriously, this is the kind of world that we used to have. And it would seem as though our lives were so much poorer, well, only in terms of our bank account, but in terms of our human relationships and our being able to express ourselves, they were so much richer. We can have this again if we would just insist upon recreating these free enterprise zones and creating almost a safe haven. What do they call it now? Sanctuary. How about that? How about a sanctuary neighborhood where there's no legal liability, there's no OSHA, there's no laws, no rules, no regulations, just free people acting freely, exchanging among each other like responsible adults. Why would that be so hard? Why would that be impossible? Why can't we do that again?